Hey, I'm Emily. I always thought Mark and I had the kind of relationship you only read about in romance novels. We met right after college, fell in love, got married, and built a life that looked picture perfect from the outside. Mark's a project manager, charming, and honestly, everyone adores him, including me, of course. But life has a funny way of reminding you just how quickly things can unravel. We were celebrating our 5th wedding anniversary, and I wanted it to be unforgettable. So, I planned this amazing trip to a dreamy beach resort I'd been eyeing for months. White sands, crystal clear water, the whole deal. Mark seemed thrilled, or at least, I thought he was. But then, little things started to pop up. He began taking phone calls in another room, texting more than usual. "It's just work, he'd say. But something felt off. "Girl, you're overthinking it. Relax. It's probably nothing." Lisa, my best friend since forever, told me when I called her about it. She's always been the no-nonsense type, tells it like it is without any sugarcoating. Then there was Tom, Mark's colleague, who would occasionally drop hints that Mark had been super stressed out lately. It didn't make sense, but I tried to shake off the unease. We were on vacation, and I didn't want to ruin it with my worries. At first, the trip was perfect: romantic dinners, sunset walks on the beach, laughing until our sides hurt over silly things. It felt like we were reconnecting. One evening, Mark said he was going to the bar to grab us some drinks. I stayed back, soaking in the view, but as time passed, I started to get nervous. When he didn't return, I decided to go check on him. As I approached the bar, I heard laughter, his laughter, but it wasn't just him. A woman's voice, too, familiar, yet completely out of place. My heart sank as I rounded the corner and saw them, Mark and his ex, Sarah, looking way too comfortable, like I didn't even exist, like this wasn't our anniversary trip to celebrate us. Everything clicked in that moment. All the little things I'd brushed off suddenly made sense. I felt my world stop. Later that night, when Mark finally came back to the room, I confronted him. His face was still flushed, whether from laughter or guilt, I couldn't tell. "What the hell was that with Sarah?" I asked, my voice shaking, but loud enough to make my point. "Emily, babe, you're blowing this out of proportion. We just ran into each other. It's nothing," he said, his voice too calm, his smile clearly forced. "Overreacting? Don't treat me like I'm stupid, Mark. I'm not blind. Seriously, you're being paranoid. She's just an old friend." He reached out to hug me, but I pushed him away, fury building up inside. That night, I couldn't sleep. His words kept replaying in my head: paranoid, overreacting, but I knew what I saw. I needed to talk to someone who would actually understand. So I called Lisa. It was late, but she picked up on the first ring. "Lisa, I saw him, with Sarah. They were too close." "Emily, breathe. Tell me everything." Lisa's voice was like an anchor, steady in the chaos. I unloaded every detail: how Mark had been acting distant, all the excuses, and finally, seeing him with Sarah. Lisa listened quietly before speaking. It's time to think about your next move, strategically. This isn't just about what happened tonight. This is about your life." "Strategically? What do you mean?" "You need to show him that you're not someone he can manipulate or walk all over. How about serving him divorce papers? Let him know you're serious, that you're done with his games." The idea hit me like a freight train, bold, shocking, but it also felt right, empowering even. But how? We're still here, in the middle of this supposed romantic getaway, I said, feeling overwhelmed. "Exactly," Lisa replied. "Leave him the papers here. Make it clear you're not playing around. And do it publicly, so there's no hiding what he's done. Let everyone see." The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. With Lisa's help, we drafted the divorce papers online that night. We planned to have them delivered directly to the hotel, ensuring they'd land in Mark's lap at the worst possible moment. The next morning, I acted as if everything was fine, waiting for the right opportunity. When Mark headed out for a swim, I knew it was my chance. I spoke with the hotel manager, explaining the situation briefly. They agreed to help, and the papers would be delivered to Mark at the bar, right in front of his colleagues later that evening. As I walked away from the manager's office, my heart raced, but I felt more in control than I had in days. I wasn't just going to be the woman who stood quietly by anymore. Mark's betrayal was about to become very public, and for the first time, I was standing up for myself. That evening, the bar was bustling, filled with laughter and conversation. I walked in, the divorce papers neatly folded in the manager's hands. He nodded at me subtly, understanding the weight of what was about to happen. I took a deep breath and scanned the room until I spotted Mark, carefree and laughing with his colleagues, as if nothing was wrong. This was it. As the manager made his way toward Mark, I quietly slipped out, determined to find Sarah. It wasn't hard, word travels fast at a resort like this. I found her lounging by the pool, looking completely unsuspecting. "Relax, Sarah," I said, keeping my voice steady. "There's something you need to know about Mark." Her expression shifted instantly, her guard going up. "What are you talking about, Emily?" "He's been lying to both of us," I continued, the hurt clear in my voice, but my stance firm. "I just served him divorce papers. I saw you two at the bar." The color drained from her face as she tried to process my words. "He told me you two were practically separated," she muttered, clearly shaken. "I thought you should hear it from me, not through rumors," I said, turning to leave, giving her space to absorb the truth, the web of lies Mark had spun around us both. Back at the bar, the fallout was swift. Mark's face went pale as he read the divorce papers, his colleagues staring in shock, the murmurs spreading like wildfire. The hotel manager, true to his word, had made the delivery as public as possible, and Lisa, ever the strategist, had already been spreading the news through her network. By the evening, word had reached our circle of friends, as well as Mark's professional connections. The overwhelming support I received was matched only by the palpable disdain for Mark's actions. The consequences hit Mark hard, and fast. Tom, who had been more friend than colleague, felt deeply betrayed. He had vouched for Mark's character at work more than once, and now, he couldn't look him in the eye. "I can't cover for you anymore, Mark. Not after this," Tom said coldly, and shortly after, Mark lost out on a promotion he'd been certain was his. His professional life, like his personal one, began to crumble. As for me, I took this as a sign to start fresh. I left the job where Mark and I had met and joined a new company. It was a chance for a clean slate, a place where I could grow without the shadow of my past. My new colleagues were supportive, and I quickly rose through the ranks, my determination fueled by the freedom of no longer being tied to Mark's deceit. Life had thrown me a curveball, but I caught it and ran with it. Standing on firmer ground, I didn't look back with regret but with understanding. What I had gone through wasn't the end, it was the beginning of something new. The path ahead was mine alone to forge, and I stepped forward with newfound strength and clarity. Life has a funny way of turning the tables when you least expect it. As I embraced my new chapter, Mark's world continued to fall apart. Sarah, stung by the public humiliation and betrayal, wasn't about to let him off the hook easily. She made sure of that. It turned out the deceit ran even deeper than anyone imagined. Sarah had evidence of Mark's involvement in financial fraud, a secret he had carefully hidden. Until now, she took her findings to the authorities, and soon Mark found himself entangled in legal battles. As news of his fraudulent activities spread, it further destroyed what little remained of his reputation, severing the last professional ties that might have survived the scandal of our broken marriage. His financial stability crumbled under the weight of legal fees, and his once expansive social circle dwindled to nothing. It was a harsh reminder of how the consequences of one's actions can extend far beyond what's immediately visible. Meanwhile, my life was heading in a completely different direction. At my new job, I met Alan, a colleague who shared my passion for marketing but, more importantly, respected the boundaries I had come to firmly establish. Alan was different. He listened, supported me, and genuinely cared, not just about our shared work, but about me as a person, my thoughts, my ambitions, my well-being. It was refreshing and invigorating to be with someone who valued me for who I was, not just for what I could offer. We started dating, taking things slowly, learning about each other outside the rush of work. Alan had a way of making me feel seen, something I hadn't realized I was missing until now. It was a healthy, nurturing relationship that grew from mutual respect and understanding, a stark contrast to what I had lived through with Mark. Looking back, I can see how much I've grown. The pain of betrayal had been overwhelming, like a fire I feared might consume me, but instead of letting it destroy me, I used it to forge a new path, one that led to self-discovery and a deeper understanding of my own strength and worth. Mark's downfall, while sad, was a necessary chapter in my life. It was a harsh lesson in the consequences of deceit and the importance of integrity. Now, I stand stronger, more sure of myself, and ready to move forward with clarity and confidence. These were lessons I'd carry with me, but not dwell on. While Mark faced isolation and financial ruin, I found solidarity and success. This journey taught me more than I could have imagined, about resilience, the importance of standing up for oneself, and the incredible power of starting over. Moving forward with Alan by my side and a career that's flourishing, I've come to truly understand the value of my voice and the strength of my spirit. Life is unpredictable, but with every challenge comes an opportunity to learn and grow I did, beyond what I ever thought possible. And that brings us to the end of Emily's journey, from betrayal to triumph. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How do you think you would handle a similar situation if you found yourself in Emily's shoes? Would you choose public exposure, or take a different approach to confronting deceit? Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and let's start a conversation. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to light.